Assemblymember Bauer-Kahan. I am so excited to be here with you today because with so many of our favorite summer activities like camps and swim team on hold, we wanted to present more of our summer activity series. And today we have a really exciting addition, which is a partnership with East Bay Regional Park District. Before Shelter in Place, I hosted several walk-in talks throughout the district with constituents to talk about our beautiful open spaces. And we hope to continue that through summer and spring. But unfortunately, due to COVID-19, we couldn't do that. So we decided we wanted to recreate that experience with you here today virtually, and we hope it is just as wonderful, although we know it's not quite the same. So today, I'm joined with some representatives from the East Bay Regional Park District to discuss the different ways that we can enjoy their parks this summer. Board member Beverly Lane represents our area in East Bay Regional Parks Board of Directors. She is going to share a quick update with how we can enjoy the park safely and what we can expect when we visit the East Bay Regional Parks.
Thank you for joining us today. I appreciate your coming to watch the East Bay Regional Park District's virtual walk and talk with Assemblymember Rebecca Bauer-Kahan. Special series that she has called the Summer Activity Series. I'm the Park District Board member from Ward 6, and today our program is located at Las Trampas Regional Wilderness, which is one of the most beautiful parks in the East Bay. And we are going to join the Assemblymember and Supervising Naturalist Ashley Grenier in this program. Las Trampas is a park that has nearly 6,000 acres and a wide variety of resources and interesting history. It also includes probably 12 accesses from the communities that surround it, which include Ceramon, Danville, Alamo, Walnut Creek, and the La Marinda communities. So it is a prominent park for people in central Contra Costa County. I think one of the features that's really special about this park is that it is the beginning of the Las Trampas to Mount Diablo Regional Trail, about 5 miles that you can take either direction. And if you come from Las Trampas, you go down Hemi Avenue, across Danville Boulevard, over a bridge, under the freeway, and then you continue through some interesting backyards on the way to the Macedo staging area. So this is a trail that isn't used in its entirety very often, but it's really a special trail that the Park District worked hard to put together beginning in the 70s. The Park District and I want to thank you as you come to the parks for making sure that everybody is safe, our staff and your fellow park users. So one of the things you need to do is pay attention to the rules, as in wearing a mask, keeping your social distance, keeping dogs on leash. And if you want to know more about a park as you plan to come there, please go to our website at ebparks.org. So now I want to introduce the Assemblymember, who is an accomplished environmental attorney and advocate, a community volunteer, a law professor, a parent, and a person who's worked hard all her life to find ways to have us value the environment. Today, she and our naturalist are going to talk about Las Trampas Regional Park. And I want to say again how much I appreciate her work on behalf of children getting involved and knowledgeable about the environment. So I look forward to hearing from both of you today, and I hope all of you will enjoy this program. Thank you.
Thank you for that update, Beverly. I really appreciate the great work of the entire East Bay Regional Parks District and what you have done to make sure that we can continue to use the parks responsibly during this global pandemic. We are so grateful to be surrounded by such wonderful open space and parks here in AD 16. I know that my family and I enjoy them almost weekly, if not more often than that. It really is one of our favorite pastimes, and it is so important for all of our mental health and well-being to be out enjoying nature and reconnecting with the great outdoors. So excited to be here today with one of our East Bay Regional Park naturalists, Ashley Grenier. She is going to do a virtual walkthrough of the Las Trampas Wilderness Regional Reserve Park. Thank you, Ashley, so much for joining us and for sharing Las Trampas with us virtually.
I'm happy to be here. Thanks.
So Ashley, tell me a little bit about yourself and what brought you to this, to being a naturalist with East Bay Regional Parks.
Yeah, I have a master's in education, and it's definitely a special degree because I was never a classroom teacher. I've been a substitute teacher, but my emphasis is on informal education. So I have a background in outdoor education, and I used to work at aquariums. So all those fun things kids get to do outside of their classroom, I have sort of an expertise in, I guess you could say. I think of myself as a teacher, and nature is my classroom. I also think of myself as the Lorax, so I can speak for the trees.
Oh, I love that. And I think that you touch on something so important, which is our kids learn so much in the classroom, and all of that is so valuable, but learning has to continue outside the classroom. And if we're going to make a generation of kids that will protect our future and our climate, we need to make sure they understand the value of the outdoors and why it's so important. And so we need to get them off those screens and out into the outdoors. So thank you for being a partner in that education. So tell me a little bit about Las Trampas Regional Wilderness Preserve. I'm excited to hear about it.
Yeah, I'm so excited to bring everybody into Las Trampas Regional Preserve, Wilderness Preserve, from the comfort of your own home. Yeah, so welcome to Las Trampas Regional Wilderness. Las Trampas is one of 73 parks that we have in our system, and it's only one of 3 that gets the wilderness designation. It is on the ancestral territory of the Totcan Bay Miwok people who have lived here for time immemorial. And as a wilderness area, what that means is that when you go into Las Trampas Regional Wilderness, you feel like you've escaped from it all, which right now we know is so important to just get out there, get in nature, and be surrounded by what we call wilderness. It also gets that designation because it's a pretty steep hike. Most of the trails are pretty steep, really rugged and challenging. But in a little bit, I'll tell you about a secret. Well, it's not so secret, but a little bit easier of a trail. And a well-known playwright by the name of Eugene O'Neill actually lived close to this area. And he is quoted by saying that this place is absolute country without a taint of suburbia, yet only 3/4 of an hour motor ride from Frisco. So if you see on the map here, this is most of our district, and you'll see Las Trampas circled there in red. And you can see that even though it is a wilderness area, it's really close to a lot of our cities and our freeways. So it's easy to get to from 680. It's also easy to get to from Crow Canyon Road. I actually grew up in Castro Valley and would go down Crow Canyon Road. Super easy to get to Las Trampas. So you're in a wilderness, but you're close by. Now, let's talk a little bit more about those trails. So here's that park map. A park map, you can actually go on our website, ebparks.org, and download any map that you want to go to before you get to the park, so you can really know before you go. So on the map, I'm going to use my mouse here. I don't know if you can see it, but right here where this arrow is the staging area. So when you get to the park, you're going to park there, and you can go on the most popular trail to get your exercise in for the day. Definitely start early, especially in the summer, because it does get hot out there. The most popular trail is right here. It's called the Rocky Ridge View Trail. It's only about a half mile to the top, but it's pretty steep. So your heart's gonna be racing, and you're gonna get some nice exercise. What's neat about this trail is that it's paved. So yes, it is a trail, but it's paved. So there's some history behind this. It was actually paved by the U.S. Army in 1957 to have access to a radar and Nike facility. They're not there anymore. They were abandoned in about 1959, but the paved path still remains. So you can be a part of that history when you're huffing and puffing up to the top. And once you get to the top, you're going to be rewarded with some amazing views of our beautiful valley. So looking to the east, right behind, in the further east you look, you can see Mount Diablo, really the center of our East Bay. And further in the foreground on this picture, you'll see another ridge. This ridge is called the Las Trampas Ridge. So this, again, is looking east. And then from the top of that trail, if you're going to look west, guess what you can see? You can see the San Francisco Bay. So again, you're gonna really get up there. You're gonna be rewarded by these amazing views. But if you're like me, I do like a challenge, but I do also have a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. So right now, this hike is not really something I'm gonna wanna go do with my family. So I wanna introduce you to a trail called the Bollinger Creek Loop Trail. And also my family. So you see me here in this photo. I've got my girls. I didn't hike like this the whole time, but we're on the Bollinger Creek Loop Trail. The photo of me and my girls is on the eastern side of the trail, which is a wide multi-use trail or fire road. And it's pretty open. There's not a lot of shade. But on the right-hand side of this picture, you'll see it's covered in beautiful bay trees and oak trees, and it goes along the Bollinger Creek, hence the name Bollinger Creek Loop Trail. And the loop, if you do the entire thing, is only about a mile. You don't have to do the whole thing, especially if you have little kids. You can just do a little bit of it out and back. And I invite everybody to go to this trail all year round to see how it changes. So in this photo, both photos, it looks it's green, but it also looks a little bit dry. But if you go in the winter time after the rain, it can look like this photo, where the creek just fills up with the water and you really, truly, again, feel like you're escaping into the wilderness.
Thank you, Ashley. That is beautiful, that picture of the creek. And you reminded me, I actually spent Mother's Day in the Las Trampas Regional Wilderness and wanted to go and hike that trail. And I have 3 kids too, they're 4, 6, and 8, and we did not make it to the top. So I wish I would have known about this Creek Loop Trail. So can you tell us a little about what wildlife we might see if we go out to the Wilderness Preserve?
Yeah, it's so funny when people ask me, what kind of animals can I see there? I always say, well, name an animal, because there's so much wildlife in all of our East Bay parks. Of course, you're not going to see an elephant or a giraffe or something like that, but there is a lot of wildlife to see. So I'm just going to talk about a few that have been seen recently and some of my favorites, my personal favorites. So I actually got some photos from the rangers recently, and so they took the photo on the left of this barn owl just right there at that parking lot I was showing earlier from the staging area. Since the pandemic began and we were sheltering in place in mid-March, not a lot of people were visiting our parks at that time. And so these photos were taken around then. So the wildlife really sort of rejoiced, I guess, knowing that there wasn't a lot of people around. And so this barn owl started coming around right there at the entrance of the park. And then further into the reaches of the park, again, I think I forgot to mention, but Las Trampas is a part of 20,000 acres of open space. Itself is 5,600 acres, but it connects to so much land that there really is a lot of space for bigger carnivores to roam, like these coyotes. So this photo is some coyote pups that were recently born in a den, more up towards the rocky ridge where we just explored, and further into some of the East Bay mudland that you can hike in as well. So these are some great shots just taken this year. And if you go on that creek trail that I mentioned, you can explore more of the dark areas or the areas that stay a little bit wet underneath logs and rocks, and you might be delighted by some amphibians. One of my personal favorites is the slender salamander. So you'll see me here in this photo with one in my hand with my 2-year-old. We just gently lifted up some logs and we're able to see them. Sometimes they're hard to spot because they do look a bit like earthworms. They have these teeny tiny feet and legs, but they're really cool to find and pretty easy to pick up. You just want to be very gentle with them because they breathe through their skin, which is really, really cool. Another animal, a little animal you can find at Las Trampas are ladybugs. And in the winter is when you'll find these clumps of ladybugs. So they come out and they are overwintering. So it's sort of like a mild hibernation. There's another park in our system called Reinhardt-Redwood Regional Park, and it is very well known for having hundreds, maybe thousands of ladybugs. So I just wanted to let everybody know that Las Trampas is also a place where you can go to see these ladybugs gathering together. Now, looking towards the sky, there are so many birds that call Las Trampas home, especially those big raptors that fly around. The golden eagle is one that you are going to see when you're especially out in the further reaches of the park. Golden eagles don't like to be around people. They're sort of elusive. They have secretive places where they like to nest, but the Bay Area is one of the most densely populated areas in the country for golden eagles. And back in about 2012 or so, we actually partnered with the Lindsay Wildlife Museum to release an injured golden eagle back into Las Trampas. And it was tagged so that we could learn about where it goes and where it's flying. And that information is actually on our website under our stewardship page. So you can find a little bit more about that golden eagle if you'd like. The last animal, I want to bring it back to the insect world, is the pipevine swallowtail butterfly. This butterfly is beautiful. It's large. It's about as big as a monarch, and it's got those beautiful orange spots on its wings, and then it also has a blue color on the top. Now, the reason I'm highlighting this one is because the host plant, or the plant where its caterpillar gets its nutrients from, is found in Las Trampas, and it's a native plant called the California pipevine. The reason it gets that name is because people think that the flower shown in this photo looks a little bit like a smoking pipe. But this pipevine plant is endemic to the area, meaning it's only found here. It's only found in these parts of California, and you're not going to find it all over the place. So Las Trampas, especially the Mahogany Trail, is a good trail to go searching for these caterpillars and also this beautiful pipevine swallowtail butterfly.
Thank you so much, Ashley. So I have to confess that my family and I have always gone to Redwood Regional to see those ladybugs, and I did not know that we could go to Las Trampas. So this year, maybe we'll go to Las Trampas and see them, and then also look for those salamanders under logs. I love lifting up logs and trying to find those amphibians under there. So thank you for that. Now let's talk, you sort of touched on just there with the butterflies, some of the plant life that we might find that is unique or special in Las Trampas. When I went on Mother's Day, it was to see the flowers that are so beautiful there. So can you share a little bit about what plant life we might find?
Yeah, so again, the pipevine, that's that really interesting endemic flower that you can go and try to find it while you're out there. And going back to that Bollinger Creek Loop Trail that I mentioned, if you walk straight from the parking lot and you just follow the Fire Road Trail of the Bollinger Creek Loop, about maybe a quarter mile or less into that trail, you will be greeted by a beautiful old California buckeye tree. And you might not be able to see it, but me and my family are actually in this photo. Try to see if you can find us. But this is a California buckeye tree in the wintertime. You'll notice it doesn't have any of its leaves. But again, this is another reason to visit all year round because you can see how it changes. The California buckeye tree gets these beautiful blooms in about May, June, beginning of July. These beautiful white flowers have such a great fragrance to them that you can smell it just as you're walking by. What's really interesting to me about this buckeye tree is that it starts to lose its leaves in the summer. And when we think of plants or trees losing their leaves, we think of the fall, right? That's when leaves are supposed to fall, is in the fall. But the buckeye tree is a little bit different. It actually loses its leaves in the summer because it's considered drought deciduous. Now, in California or in the Bay Area, we are a Mediterranean climate, which means we get wet winters and dry summers. So in the summer, we are always in a drought because we don't get any rain in the summer. And so to conserve energy and to conserve water, the buckeye will lose its leaves. So if you go out there right now in the summer, they've actually dried out already. And a lot of times people think that the buckeye trees are dying off. They're not, they're just drought deciduous. And then in the fall, another cool thing happens is where they start growing the buckeye. And the buckeye is the seed or the nut that grows from the tree. And in this photo, you'll notice they kind of look like pears. They do have a skin around them, like an avocado. And as the season progresses, that skin will actually split open and reveal the brown nut on the inside. And some people think it looks like a buck's eye. A buck meaning a male deer. So it looks kind of like that horizontal pupil that a deer has. So that's how it gets its name, the California buckeye. Now, as you mentioned, yes, Las Trampas is amazing for wildflowers. So this is just one tiny flower that is really cute, and it's called a cream cup that you can find out there in Las Trampas. But this does not give the wildflower display justice. This year, I didn't get out there, but I heard the rangers were telling me that there were just so many blooms out there at Las Trampas, and you don't have to go too far on too long of a hike to really enjoy the wildflowers during wildflower season. And looking out at this view again, I just wanted to share this with you again because it shows you almost like a patchwork quilt of ecosystems. This is the Las Trampas Ridge that I was telling you about, and this photo was taken from the Rocky Ridge, which would be behind us on this photo, which are two fault lines that are meeting at this park. And because of all of this movement and upheaval from these faults, it really gives us lots of opportunities to have different sort of habitats interspersed in the park. So you'll see at the bottom of the picture a grassy valley, also filled with a line of trees at the bottom where the creek flows. As your eyes go further up the ridge, you'll notice it looks a little bit more like scrubby or chaparral. You'll even see some rocks showing in the distance. So there's really lots of fun nooks and crannies to explore in Las Trampas and a diversity of plant life. So it's definitely a great place to go discover more about plants.
Wow, that was amazing. I've always thought of it as the place where I go for wildflowers, but there's so much more to find. So thank you for sharing all that with us. Now tell us, I understand there's a national park that is adjacent to Las Trampas. Can you tell us about that?
Las Trampas is a place where you can go to disconnect from it all, but really it's a place where you can connect with so many different things, including a national park. So you can see Mount Diablo from the distance, which is a state park. When you're at Las Trampas, you're in a regional park. If you go into the East Bay Mudland, you're in another agency. So there's so many partnerships and collaborations happening right here at Las Trampas. So right on the other side of this ridge in this photo is the Eugene O'Neill National Historic Site. And I actually quoted Eugene O'Neill at the beginning of this talk. Reason being is because he built his home, the Dow House, right on the eastern side of Las Trampas, and it borders the park. you can hike into the Eugene O'Neill National Historic Site from Las Trampas. And when it's open, I do recommend that you take a tour of the house. It is a beautiful home, and Eugene O'Neill was an amazing man, a very talented playwright. And he found comfort and solace in these hills, just like we do today. We partner with the National Park Service to do a hike every year, and this year it's going to be virtual. So we're excited to keep working with the National Park Service in partnership on these programs.
That's amazing. I have never toured the house, so I will have to get out and do that. Maybe I'll join you virtually before I can get there in person. Thank you again for sharing Las Trampas with us and taking us through the park virtually. And can you tell us a little bit about other virtual resources that might be out there for us to enjoy this or other parks?
Yeah, so if you have a cell phone, which most of us do, you can download this app for free called Time Looper. And on it, you'll see an option to go to the San Francisco Bay Area. And if you click on that option, you'll actually see Las Trampas. So it can take you to Las Trampas. And I myself don't have much of a geology background. So if you want to learn more about geology like I do, you can go on that app and learn about California's Rocky Past on the Las Trampas portion of the Time Looper app. And, you know, as an educator, I really value education. And so as naturalists, what we've started to do is provide virtual school field trips. We already did it in the spring, and we're going to keep doing that this fall. So be on the lookout on our website where you can apply for virtual programs at all of our visitor centers. And for those of you who may not want to go on a school field trip, you can just go to our website and click on the digital learning option. And we already have so many videos, fun, informative videos about history and nature. And there's also some really great activities guides that you can download and do on your own if you're a lifelong learner or with your families.
Well, Ashley, thank you so much again for joining us and sharing this amazing gem right here in our backyard that we can hopefully get out to in person. And if not, as you mentioned, enjoy in person. I have one of the East Bay Regional Park District viewers from one of my visits with you. I know you have one too. But as she mentioned, if you get the Time Looper app and you have, it doesn't have to be the East Bay Regional Park one, but if you have one of these VR viewers, you can put it in there and you can enjoy a lot of the parks virtually, which is really fun. I know my kids really enjoy that. So many ways to enjoy these parks, whether it be in person or virtually. But thank you so much, Ashley, for joining us and for that incredible talk. I know that it makes me excited to get out there and learn some more and see all the things you mentioned. And I'm sure that's true for all of our viewers. So a couple reminders. I want to make sure that if you do get out in our parks, please do so safely. Remember to follow the park guidelines and all of the orders from our County Department of Public Health, which means wearing a mask, practicing social distancing, carrying out all of your trash that you bring in. And I was on a hike last weekend and I saw almost 100% of hikers wearing masks. And it made me very, very happy because we need to drive those numbers down. So please be our partners in fighting this virus by wearing your mask. I also want to thank Director Lane for joining us today and sharing some of the wonderful things that East Bay Regional Parks has to offer. So thank you again. I also want to invite you to fill out the survey that is available from the East Bay Regional Parks. That link is on the screen, and we invite you to go fill that out for them. So have fun out there, enjoy nature, and be safe.